Hi there and welcome. If you're here today, chances are you're carrying something heavy, maybe pain, maybe questions, or maybe just the quiet hope that you're not alone in how you feel. Today's story is for anyone who's ever wondered if healing is supposed to feel like joy all the time. Because the truth is, healing doesn't always mean cured. Sometimes, it just means waking up and trying again. This is Healing Doesn't Mean Cured, Learning to Live with Chronic Illness. Let's begin. The air in Dr. Anya Sharma's office was perpetually thick with unspoken stories. The scent of chamomile tea mingled with the faint, lingering antiseptic of a space meticulously maintained, a sanctuary built brick by metaphorical brick to offer solace. Today, however, the solace seemed elusive, bouncing off the sterile walls and refusing to settle. Opposite Anya sat Elara, a woman whose eyes held the quiet desperation of someone weathering a storm they didn't understand. Elara's story, unlike most, wasn't a sudden tragedy. It was a slow, insidious erosion of what she once considered a normal life. It began subtly with an inexplicable fatigue that clung to her like a second skin. Then came the muscle aches, the joint pain that made even the simplest tasks a monumental effort. Doctors dismissed it initially: stress, they said, a demanding job in a tech startup, the pressures of modern life. Elara, driven and ambitious, tried to push through, fueled by caffeine and sheer willpower. But her body rebelled. The pain intensified, the fatigue deepened, and eventually the symptoms became undeniable, coalescing into a diagnosis: fibromyalgia, a chronic pain disorder with no cure, only management. Healing isn't always about becoming happy, Anya said, her voice a gentle counterpoint to the turmoil raging within Elara. Sometimes, it's about learning to live without the unhappy parts, finding strength in the face of adversity. Elara looked up, her expression a mixture of skepticism and reluctant hope. But how do you just accept this? My life is different now. I can't do the things I used to do. I can't even predict how I'll feel from one day to the next. The words tumbled out, raw and unfiltered, a dam finally breaking after years of suppressed frustration. Anya leaned forward, her gaze unwavering. Acceptance isn't resignation, Elara. It's not giving up. It's acknowledging the reality of your situation without letting it define you completely. It's about finding ways to adapt, to redefine what living means to you. She paused, allowing her words to sink in. Tell me, Elara, what did living mean to you before? Elara's brow furrowed as she searched her memories. It meant working hard, achieving goals, climbing the corporate ladder. It meant traveling, going to concerts, spending time with friends, being active. A wistful smile touched her lips, quickly fading. It meant being in control. And now? Anya prompted softly. Now it means pain. It means limitations. It means feeling like a burden to everyone around me. It means losing myself. The last words were barely a whisper, choked with emotion. You haven't lost yourself, Elara, Anya countered. You've just been forced to confront a different version of yourself, a version that requires more compassion, more patience, more self-love. Anya delved deeper into Elara's past. Her childhood had been marked by high expectations and relentless pressure to succeed. Her parents, both accomplished professionals, had instilled in her a belief that her worth was directly tied to her achievements. There was little room for vulnerability, for admitting weakness. I was always taught to be strong, Elara confessed. To never give up, to push through, no matter what. And that served you well, Anya acknowledged. But now, that strength needs to be redefined. It's no longer about pushing through the pain. It's about listening to your body, respecting its limits, and finding ways to nurture it. The journey wasn't easy. Elara's initial attempts at self-care felt forced, artificial. Meditation sessions ended in frustration, yoga classes in tears. She struggled to reconcile her old identity with her new reality. I feel like I'm failing, she admitted one day, her voice laced with despair. I'm not getting better. I'm still in pain. I'm still tired. What's the point? The point, Elara, is not to eliminate the pain, but to change your relationship with it, Anya explained. Pain is a signal. It's your body telling you something. Instead of fighting it, try to understand it. What triggers it? What alleviates it? What can you learn from it? Anya introduced Elara to mindfulness techniques, teaching her to observe her thoughts and feelings without judgment. She encouraged her to explore alternative therapies such as acupuncture and massage. Slowly, gradually, Elara began to experiment with her lifestyle, making small but significant changes. She adjusted her diet, eliminating processed foods and sugar, focusing on whole nutritious meals. She started pacing herself, breaking down tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks. She learned to say no, to prioritize her own needs over the demands of others. The biggest challenge, however, was her relationship with her husband, David. Before her illness, they had been a dynamic duo, partners in crime, sharing a love of travel, adventure, and a fast-paced social life. Now, Elara felt like she was holding him back. He deserves someone who can keep up with him, she confided in Anya. Someone who isn't always tired, someone who can actually enjoy life. Anya encouraged Elara to communicate openly and honestly with David, to share her fears and insecurities. She also suggested couples therapy to help them navigate the challenges of chronic illness together. David, initially struggling to understand the invisible nature of Elara's condition, gradually began to empathize with her pain and limitations. He learned to adjust his expectations, to offer support without judgment, and to celebrate the small victories. He started joining her for gentle walks in the park, cooking healthy meals together, and simply being present, offering a comforting presence in her moments of distress. One day, Elara came to Anya's office with a small tentative smile. I had a good day yesterday, she said, not pain-free but manageable. I went for a walk in the garden, read a book, and had dinner with David. We even watched a movie. It felt normal. Anya smiled back. That's progress, Elara. That's what it means to find joy in the midst of suffering. It's not about eliminating the suffering, but about finding the joy that still exists. Elara's journey was far from over. There were still days when the pain was unbearable, when the fatigue was overwhelming, when she felt like giving up. But she had learned to recognize those moments as temporary setbacks, not permanent defeats. She had built a support system of friends, family, and healthcare professionals who understood her condition and offered encouragement. She had discovered new passions, such as painting and writing, that allowed her to express her creativity and find meaning in her life. She had learned to be kinder to herself, to forgive her imperfections, and to celebrate her resilience. 1 year later, Elara returned to Anya's office, not as a patient in crisis, but as a woman transformed. She still experienced pain, still faced limitations, but she had found a way to live with them, to embrace them as part of her story. She had become an advocate for chronic illness awareness, sharing her experiences with others and offering hope to those who felt lost and alone. She had redefined her definition of success, focusing not on external achievements, but on inner peace, self-acceptance, and the ability to find joy in the present moment. I'm not happy all the time, she told Anya, but I'm content. I've learned to appreciate the good days, to cope with the bad days, and to find strength in the in-between days. I'm still trying, every day. And that's enough. Anya smiled, her heart filled with admiration. That's more than enough, Elara. That's healing. Elara's journey illuminated a profound truth, often obscured by the relentless pursuit of happiness. True healing isn't about eradicating suffering, but about learning to coexist with it, finding meaning and joy even in the face of adversity. It's about redefining strength, embracing vulnerability, and cultivating self-compassion. Elara's experiences rippled outwards, becoming a beacon of hope for others grappling with chronic conditions. reminding them that even in the darkest of times, the light of resilience can always be found. Her YouTube channel, born from her struggles, blossomed into a vibrant community where individuals shared their stories, offered support, and celebrated small victories, proving that healing in its truest form is a collective endeavor. Dr. Ben Carter, a renowned oncologist, stared out of his office window at the bustling cityscape below. He was a man dedicated to science, to logic, to the tangible realities of the human body. Yet, he was increasingly confronted with the limitations of his knowledge, the profound mysteries that lay beyond the reach of medical textbooks. His patient, Mrs. Evelyn Reed, was a testament to this humbling reality. Mrs. Reed, diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, had defied all odds. Her prognosis had been grim, her chances of survival minimal. Yet, here she was, 6 months after her initial diagnosis, not only alive but thriving. Her tumors had shrunk significantly, her energy levels had soared, and her overall quality of life had improved dramatically. Ben had meticulously reviewed her medical records, searching for a scientific explanation. He had consulted with colleagues, debated treatment protocols, and scrutinized every detail of her case. But the answer remained elusive. Mrs. Reed had undergone chemotherapy and radiation, standard treatments for her condition. But her response was far beyond what could be attributed to these interventions alone. Something else was at play, something that defied conventional medical wisdom. He decided to delve deeper, to understand Mrs. Reed's life beyond her medical chart. He learned that she was a devout practitioner of mindfulness meditation, spending hours each day in quiet contemplation. She had also adopted a plant-based diet, focusing on whole unprocessed foods. She surrounded herself with a supportive network of friends and family, engaging in activities that brought her joy and connection. She even volunteered at a local animal shelter, finding purpose and fulfillment in caring for abandoned animals. Ben, a staunch believer in the power of evidence-based medicine, was initially skeptical. He viewed these lifestyle changes as complementary therapies, perhaps offering some psychological comfort, but unlikely to have a significant impact on her cancer progression. But as he observed Mrs. Reed's remarkable progress, he began to question his assumptions. He realized that healing wasn't solely about targeting the disease. It was also about nurturing the body's innate capacity to heal itself. He decided to conduct a small, informal study, inviting his patients to participate in mindfulness meditation and nutritional counseling. He carefully monitored their progress, tracking their physical and emotional well-being. The results were surprising. While not all patients experienced the same dramatic improvements as Mrs. Reed, many reported reduced pain levels, improved sleep quality, and a greater sense of well-being. Ben recognized that these lifestyle interventions weren't a magic bullet, but they could play a significant role in enhancing the effectiveness of conventional medical treatments. He began to integrate these holistic approaches into his practice, encouraging his patients to explore mindfulness, nutrition, and social support. He emphasized the importance of self-care, reminding them that healing was an active process, requiring their participation and commitment. He even started attending meditation sessions himself, seeking to understand the transformative power of mindfulness firsthand. His colleagues, initially resistant to these unconventional methods, gradually began to acknowledge the positive impact on his patients. They saw a shift in their attitudes, a renewed sense of hope, and a willingness to engage more actively in their own healing process. Ben became an advocate for integrative medicine, bridging the gap between conventional treatments and holistic therapies. He lectured at medical conferences, sharing his findings and challenging his peers to embrace a more comprehensive approach to patient care. He realized that healing wasn't just about treating the disease. It was about treating the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. It was about empowering patients to take control of their health, to cultivate resilience, and to find meaning in their suffering. It was about recognizing that even in the face of death, there was always the possibility of healing. of finding peace, and of living fully until the very end. Mrs. Reed, now a vibrant and active member of her community, became an inspiration to countless others. She shared her story with unwavering courage, reminding people that even in the darkest of circumstances, hope and healing were always possible. She became a testament to the power of the human spirit, a living embodiment of the belief that healing doesn't mean happy all the time, it means trying every single day. The ripples of their combined experiences spread far and wide, influencing medical practices, shaping public perceptions, and ultimately transforming the way people approached health and healing. The understanding that well-being is multifaceted, that the mind-body connection is profoundly powerful, and that proactive engagement in one's own health journey is paramount, became increasingly ingrained in both medical professionals and the general populace. Their story became a powerful narrative, promoting resilience, self-care, and holistic wellness, encouraging individuals to prioritize their physical, emotional, and spiritual health, even when facing significant challenges. The legacy of Elara and Dr. Carter was a movement, a profound shift in how society understood and pursued well-being, a shift where trying even in the face of adversity was recognized as the most vital element of healing. Aisha, a young woman in her early 20s, found herself facing a health crisis of a different nature, the insidious creep of burnout. She had always been a high achiever, driven by ambition and a deep desire to make a difference in the world. As a social worker, she dedicated her life to helping vulnerable populations, working tirelessly to address issues of poverty, inequality, and injustice. She poured her heart and soul into her work, often neglecting her own needs in the process. The signs were subtle at first: a persistent fatigue, a lack of motivation, a growing sense of cynicism. She dismissed them as temporary setbacks, attributing them to the demanding nature of her job. But the symptoms gradually worsened, culminating in a full-blown emotional and physical collapse. She found herself unable to get out of bed, overwhelmed by anxiety and despair. She had lost her passion for her work, her connection to her friends, and her sense of self. Confused and ashamed, Aisha sought help from a therapist, Dr. Patel. Dr. Patel recognized the telltale signs of burnout and gently guided Aisha through a process of self-discovery. She helped her understand the root causes of her burnout, the unrealistic expectations she had placed upon herself, and the unhealthy coping mechanisms she had developed. Aisha realized that she had been operating on a faulty premise, that her worth was directly tied to her productivity and her ability to solve the problems of others. She had neglected her own needs, sacrificing her well-being for the sake of her work. She had become a martyr, sacrificing herself on the altar of social justice. Dr. Patel encouraged Aisha to prioritize self-care, to establish healthy boundaries, and to redefine her definition of success. She taught her mindfulness techniques to manage her stress and anxiety. She helped her reconnect with her passions and interests outside of work. She encouraged her to seek support from her friends and family, to build a community of care and connection. Aisha started small, taking short walks in nature, practicing yoga, and reading books that inspired her. She started saying no to extra work assignments, prioritizing her own time and energy. She reconnected with her childhood love of painting, finding solace and expression in creating art. She started spending more time with her friends, engaging in activities that brought her joy and laughter. She even started volunteering at a local animal shelter, finding comfort and purpose in caring for abandoned animals. Slowly, gradually, Aisha began to heal. She rediscovered her passion for her work, but with a newfound sense of balance and perspective. She learned to advocate for herself, to set realistic expectations, and to prioritize her own well-being. She realized that she couldn't effectively help others if she was depleted and exhausted. She started advocating for systemic changes within her workplace, pushing for policies that supported employee well-being, such as flexible work arrangements, mental health resources, and opportunities for professional development. She became a champion for self-care within the social work community, sharing her experiences and offering guidance to others who were struggling with burnout. Aisha's journey highlighted the importance of self-care in the helping professions. She became a voice for those who often felt silenced and forgotten, reminding them that their well-being mattered, that they deserved to be cared for, and that healing was possible even in the face of immense challenges. Her story spread through social work circles and beyond, sparking conversations about the unsustainable demands placed on helping professionals and the urgent need for systemic changes that prioritize well-being. Workshops on burnout prevention, mindfulness training for social workers, and support groups for mental health professionals became commonplace. The understanding that compassion fatigue and burnout were not signs of weakness but rather predictable consequences of relentless exposure to trauma and suffering became widely accepted. Aisha's advocacy efforts led to tangible improvements in workplace conditions, increased access to mental health services, and a cultural shift that values self-care as an essential component of ethical and effective service delivery. Her commitment to both her clients and her own well-being transformed the landscape of social work, creating a more sustainable and compassionate environment for those dedicated to helping others heal. And she, in turn, found her own healing deepen through her service to her peers. Healing, she realized, often comes full circle. The stories of Elara, Dr. Carter, and Aisha, though vastly different in their specific circumstances, converged on a common thread, the profound truth that healing isn't a destination, but a continuous journey of self-discovery, adaptation, and resilience. It's about learning to embrace the imperfections, to find strength in vulnerability, and to cultivate a deep sense of self-compassion. It's about recognizing that even in the midst of suffering, there is always the possibility of growth, of transformation, and of finding meaning and joy in the present moment. It's not about being happy all the time, but about trying, about persisting, about choosing to live fully, even when life throws its most formidable challenges our way. These narratives, shared widely through blogs, podcasts, and even short documentaries, became a powerful antidote to the often toxic positivity that pervades modern culture. They offered a realistic and nuanced perspective on healing, acknowledging the pain, the struggles, and the setbacks while simultaneously celebrating the small victories, the moments of connection, and the unwavering spirit of human resilience. The collective impact of these stories was transformative. They inspired countless individuals to seek help, to prioritize self-care, and to advocate for their own health and well-being. They fostered a culture of empathy, understanding, and support, creating spaces where people could share their experiences without judgment, find solace in community, and discover the strength to navigate their own unique healing journeys. The understanding that healing is a deeply personal and multifaceted process, that there is no one-size-fits-all solution, and that trying is the most crucial ingredient became a widely accepted and empowering truth, revolutionizing the way individuals and communities approached health, wellness, and the pursuit of a meaningful life. The end. Or perhaps just the beginning. Thank you so much for listening. If this story touched something in you, whether you're navigating chronic illness yourself, supporting someone who is, or simply learning to slow down and breathe, just know this: you're not alone. Healing may not be a straight line. It may not always look like joy, or strength, or success, but it does look like showing up, trying, being kind to yourself even when it's hard. So if today you're struggling, that's okay. And if today you're trying, that's healing. If you found meaning in this story, consider sharing it with someone who might need it too. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories of resilience, compassion, and the quiet courage it takes to keep going. Until next time, take care of yourself. You matter.